So a friend of mine was, wanted me to go out with somebody that she knew. And I was like, all right, cool. So I go, me and this guy, we exchange, or she gives me his number. He calls me. We have like one conversation. We texted a few times, but like, I had no idea what the guy looked like. I just know that like he sounded cute. He was Irish, by the way. So he was like, he sounded real, real cute because he had this Irish accent. By the way, side note, I don't know what it is, but Irish guys kind of have a thing for black women, but that's a whole nother topic. Anyway, so he, we're supposed to meet up, right? And I had just finished going to a conference and he was flying out of town. And so it was just like, okay, let's like meet up for an hour for like one drink before he has to go to the airport and after I finish this conference. So he's like, well, meet me at this bar. It's like by Madison Square Garden. And I'm like, all right, like cool. So I get there and I text him and I'm like, hey, I'm at the bar. And he's like, I don't see you. I'm like by the high tables. I was like, I don't see you either. So of course, every guy that walks in, again, remember, I have like zero idea what he looks like because I didn't even ask the girl for a picture because I'm in my summer, spring of yes. So I'm like, whatever, yes to everything. So I'm looking around, every guy that walks in, like every 6-foot white guy, I'm like, and it's not you. And it's not you. Like, so by the end of it, like people just thought I was like the awkward girl that was just like, I don't know, desperately seeking somebody, just smiling at everybody that's coming up in there. So anyway, this guy starts talking to me. It's not the guy though. It's not the guy from the blind date. So this guy starts talking to me and cool dude. I'm like striking up a conversation. Before long, this other guy comes up with an Irish accent and starts talking. And so I'm like, are you the guy? Like, are you the guy I'm supposed to be on the date with? And he's like, I don't think so, but I can be. And I was like, no, I think you're like totally messing with me. I think you're the guy. And he was like, okay. And like the guy from the blind that I was supposed to be on the date with, he's like kind of hilarious. I could tell from like the 2 conversations that we had on the phone. So I'm like, he's totally messing with me. It's him. Meanwhile, I don't find this guy like the guy who I think is my date. I don't find him like completely attractive. So I'm like, personality is good. So I'll roll with it. And I'm like, I know it's you. So I'm sitting there like having an entire conversation with this guy. And I get a text and the text is like, I seriously don't see you. Are you here? I'm like, I'm totally in the bar. I do not see you. So then I'm telling the 2 guys I'm sitting with, I'm like, I think maybe this guy's messing with me and I'm totally being stood up or something right now. And then they're like, well, where are you supposed to meet him? I'm like, Stout. And they're like, well, that's next door. I'm like, oh, crap. So anyway, I go next door and meet the guy. And it actually turns out he was cute. Like, he was actually cute. So, like, my first blind date was actually cute. So like I said, we just had like an hour in between him having to go to the airport and me getting done with this conference. So had a good conversation and he ended up heading out. And, so I was like, well, the night is still young. So then I go back to the other bar where the other Irish guy was. And he's like, like, let's go across the street and grab a drink. So then I'm at this other bar now. So this is technically like my second date in a matter of like 30 minutes, but the second one was completely unplanned. So I go, I'm having a drink with the second Irish guy, and he's actually like really, really cool. And he actually has a podcast as well. So we were talking about podcast and, just random stuff. And so he's like, do you want to go do karaoke? And I'm like, sure. Like, I actually really do love karaoke. And I was like, yeah, why not? He's like, all right, like, I just got to go like ditch my friends that I was with before I came over to this bar with you. I'm like, all right, cool. So he leaves. I'm finishing up my drink at this bar. And then, this was just the craziest night. So then, this old couple, they're like this 90-year-old black couple, and I don't know what it is, but I love just like old couples. It's just like, I don't know, they're just like cute, So this old couple comes in, and immediately when they sit down, I'm like, so are you guys married? I'm talking to the woman. I'm sitting closest to her. I'm like, are you guys married? And she was like, no. And I was like, oh, okay. And she was like, I am seeing him. And I was like, oh, so it's like not your husband? She's like, no, I am seeing him. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, how long have you been seeing him? She goes, I have been seeing him on and off for 40 years. And I was like, you've been seeing him for 40 years? So literally this old lady has been on and off with this man for 40 years. And I'm like, well, why didn't you guys ever get married? And she's like, because sometimes I like to do what I like to do because he likes to do what he likes to do. And I'm like, whoa, she's like off the chain. She was just like, she's just, you know, old people like have always like, there's this great advice for you. So she just sat there telling me how young girls nowadays don't know how to act. And, you know, I like tried to get her to come on the podcast. I'm like, well, you should come on the podcast and like, you know, give advice to these young girls. She was like, no, you could just tell them I said it. So anyway, this old couple, I'm chit-chatting with them. Meanwhile, the second Irish guy is like, hey, heading over to karaoke. Should I meet you there? I'm like, you know, again, I'm in my summer of yes, and I'm like having fun with the old people. So I'm just like, yeah, I don't know if I'm going to like make karaoke tonight. Like, probably not. So I end up having dinner with the old people. And then the bar owner comes over and is just like chit-chatting with us and like having us try crap on the menu for free. And so it just was like turning out to be a really good night with this like 90-year-old couple, you know, had met the Irish guy before. The blind date was good. And so the old couple leaves, and now I'm having a conversation with the bar owner. And he's telling me how he just got divorced. He's probably like, I don't know, late 50s. And he's like telling me how he just got divorced and how like it's so hard because like he just doesn't know like basic stuff. Like he doesn't know how much a roll of paper towels is supposed to cost. Like he doesn't know how to do laundry. Like he doesn't know how to cook. Like he doesn't know how to do anything for himself. And he's like, yo, I'm like Italian and that's just kind of like, you know, your wife kind of did everything for you. I'm like, that's completely crazy. And like, that's not how it works nowadays. You can't just like expect a woman to know how to do everything for you. Like that's not how it goes. Like you're going to have like a really, really hard time. And so anyway, again, I'm chilling with him. I'm chilling with like the Indian bartender. You know, I'm just going with like the flow of the night. And so this guy, we started talking about the fact that people who live in New York City, like they never do New York stuff. Like they never go to Times Square or the Statue of Liberty or the Empire State or anything, right? And so he's like, yeah, I've never done any of that stuff, you know? I don't do Times Square. That's like my best New York Italian accent, okay? Don't be offended if you're New York and Italian. So I'm like, let's just like, I was like, we should go to the Empire State like right now. Again, I'm in my summer of yes. He was like, okay. So now here I am at the Empire State Building with this 60-year-old man who just got divorced. And it was cool though. Again, like not looking for anything, certainly not my type, but I'm just here for connecting with people, and wherever the night or life takes me, it does, no big deal. So we go to the Empire State Building and it's cool. It's like a nice view. You know, there's lots of people there. We meet some other people. And this is where the night started to go like a little bit south. This old-ass man, this 60-year-old man says to me, again, remember, I just met him, but I'm in my year of yes, and so I'm just, like, hanging out with people, doing cool stuff, going to the Empire State, whatever. Then this old-ass man says to me, oh, God, I almost went through. He looks over at me, so we're on the top of the Empire State, and I understand it's a little bit romantic. That's, like, a good romantic Friday night, you're with your boo spot, not just some old man you just met and decided to go to the Empire State with kind of spot, but whatever. And he looks over at me and says, what would happen if I kissed you right now? And I was like, that's not going to happen. So that's when I knew my night of yes had ended. And so long story short, then I just grabbed a cab and went home. But for those of y'all that missed the beginning of the story, what I was saying was that I finally have gotten to the point where I'm comfortable approaching men simply because I have zero expectations of anything. Like I didn't expect for my Saturday night to end with some old white guy at the top of the Empire State, but I had a good time up until the gross kiss request thing. Other than that, it was a really good night. So anyway, I'll I'll talk more about my dating adventures on the podcast because I'm back on Tinder. Y'all know how that is. So anyway, I hope y'all have a good night, and thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you guys soon. Good night.